do you make content that makes users make content? And in Code Hero, we have a game that teaches people how to make games, and this is exactly what we've had to figure out. Now, if you haven't heard about Code Hero, basically we started off as something no one had ever heard of, a game from people who hadn't made games before in the industry, who thought they could teach the world how to make games. And at first people said, you'll never make 100,000, because this is a few days before Tim Schafer happened. And then Tim Schafer happened, and we were on the same front page because it said, Unity's CEO backs a Kickstarter for a gamified dev tool. So we were not just a game, but a tool that people could see, could change things. And suddenly we went like that. And we are enormously grateful to our Kickstarter supporters, and we have just launched our alpha of our game, of what we've been building. So we did this to raise something that could change the way kids learn. If you see in this picture, you see all these kids on laptops, that's kids learning at hackthefuture.org events where we've taught. We've taught hundreds and hundreds of kids, but it's just not enough. So we believe firmly that code is literacy, and that this isn't just a visionary statement, this is a roadmap. The question, though, is how do you turn a game player into a game designer? And the people who are here at this conference are highly motivated professional game designers who are here to learn their craft. The average kid who plays Little Big Planet and turns out some amazing levels isn't like us, but they can do what we do. The real question is, how do you turn humans into wizards, right? We all wish we went to Hogwarts, and that's really what could draw someone into something as challenging as game design and programming. So what we've done is we've given people Hogwarts for hackers. How do you turn humans into coders? And that's GameBridge Unityversity. So GameBridge Unityversity is the setting of Code Hero, and it's an appropriate setting because we are wizards. What does a game designer do? We create a universe where we are in charge of everything. We are the alpha and the omega. The wizard book on programming that MIT taught for years begins with, you are the wizard, and everything is under your control now, and your responsibility. The problem is, how do you make players do game design as a design mechanic? Like, why is this fun? Why would I want to play a game where the game designer has been lazy and not done any work and I have to do all the thinking? Well, this is extremely hard. And we would know more than anyone because we've been sort of like banging our heads against this wall first. Isn't game difficulty unsolvable? Isn't a game only fun if it's hard? Like I was playing FTL lately. It's an incredible game because it's so hard. It kills you over and over and you love it. But is it possible to make content, actual game content, that makes players make content? Well, we believe that there's a big question. Not how many people can be creators, but how many people can be tricked into making things. So there's this graph we all love and know, and we're that 1%, we're that creator, that contributor, and we make the stuff. About 9% people will make mods for the stuff that we make, and the other 90% will just play it and like it. Well, the reason that this has been the case for a long time is partly because you can't trust people with this kind of power. If you let people into the walled garden of the secrets of game design, it ruins the game. If you start cheating at FTL, FTL is not FTL anymore. So there was an experiment done in a game called City of Heroes, Architect Edition. They put out an editor, and they wanted their players to make user-generated content. And it was a really, really bold idea. I salute their sort of visionary risk-taking. But guess what the players did? They made levels where they gave themselves all the loot. Over and over again, they just power leveled, and it sort of ruined the game briefly. And so the challenge is, in a design, you have to balance things. How do you balance giving people control over balance itself? So we have to teach and reward hacking in Code Hero. We don't fight it. And I'm going to show you in a moment how we do that, but we don't fight hacking. We teach people to hack. We make levels that are unsolvably hard, and you have to fix it to beat it. So the question that this raises is, what happens to game design if programmerization becomes the new monetization? So let's just think about the word programmerization. Everyone wants to monetize their game. They want to turn their game into money for them, the game designer. But what if your goal was to turn your player into a game designer, to programmerize them, to empower them? And that is what we're doing. I'll show you really briefly how we do it. And what I mean by rewarding cheating. So this is Code Hero. And the better we get at getting better, the faster we will get better. Doug and And you might notice that I'm running this from inside the Unity editor. That's partly because the joke is only fully funny if you see the similarity. So this is GameBridge, and this is Ada Lovelace.
Welcome to GameBridge Unityversity. Come and find me up ahead.
And we're here as a student of this esteemed establishment of hacking to learn.
Hello, my name is Ada Lovelace. I was the first programmer of the first computer and I will teach you your first coding. Would you like a tour of Gamebridge?
So naturally we want a tour.
Follow me. We'll start by playing games. In the arcade you can play games created by code heroes like yourself. What brought you here? Love of games or code or both? Learning to make games is an exciting way to learn programming.
So I'm going to mute her for this part, but she's giving us a tour that starts with playing. So the first rule of teaching people to make content is don't hit them with the map editor at the beginning, for Christ's sakes. So instead, you have to bring them into the content that they play, that you've created, that they like, because most people get into it through modding. So our starting point is the labyrinth.
Takes to enroll here. Meet me here on the other side and you'll be ready to learn the secrets of code in the librarian. Good luck.
So the labyrinth is that default content experience that we're giving people so that they'll know what to make and how to start. So they come from this map editor world where everything is just a grid into a much more dangerous and sinister place.
Welcome to the labyrinth level 0. Find the key to open the door.
So pretty straightforward, right? Just find the key.
Key acquired.
And you get the key and you open the door. And this is the most basic challenge, right? You know, find the object that opens the puzzle.
This level is infested with pinata dragons.
So pinata dragons love to give adventurers loot, but they're required by design law to make you hit them with swords sufficiently before they can just give it up, right? And so you need the sword.
Just to go alone. Take this.
So you get your sword. And of course, this is a lot of sort of inside baseball homage. The thing is, though, as game designers, we love these classic references, but so do our players, because they're all amateur game designer wannabes. So this sword code is going to subtract 5 damage from the dragon's hit points. And we hit him in 1 hit and he goes down. It says you did 5 damage, enemy safety. It's a kid's game, so we have to make it a little PC. This one is the Dragon King. And hit him as we might, he will not die. He has lots of hit points. 5 damage, he just laughs it off. But it says hit Q.
Click on the Dragon King to select it. Click the inspector button.
It's telling us what to do. And you notice something really freaky here if you're a Unity game developer? Those buttons look familiar? So we're doing Unity inside of Unity, and you're probably thinking, how could you do that? That's a terrible idea. Your players are going to ruin everything. But they don't have Unity game development experience. That's what we're trying to teach them. So they hit the button.
Click the hit points variable to edit it.
And it says click hit points to edit it. And here's the inspector. We change it.
To reduce the dragon's hit points. Click save. Hit Q to place the edit dragon hacking time.
Bam! Right in the kisser. It's not so tough anymore. When they took his 1,000 hit points away, it was a lot easier to beat.
Game hacking accomplished. Now you're not playing by the rules, you're changing the rules
with code. So that's the message of Code Hero, is that if you can make a game, and if your game's content has within it the experience of editing the game as gameplay, it's not just a tutorial for the map editor, it is the game. And we're still at the frontier of this. We have a lot of work to do to prove out this concept. But I'd like to think that all of us in the game industry have a long tradition of creating and publishing our tools, of giving away the art, of giving away the secrets of our craft, because we're welcoming people into it. And the final challenge is, how do you get people to translate your map editor or your whatever into something real? And I'm just going to show you one last thing from this. So the campus starts in an arcade, and the arcade introduces you to games that you can edit. And then it goes into a library, and the library introduces you to programming concepts that you can learn. So there's Unity 3D. That's a giant flying cube that you can go into and learn from. And all these doors take you to JavaScript and programming concepts. But what really matters is, will your player make a thing? Can you take them from the 99% or the 90% into the 1% creative category? And if you don't force your player to do it, if that is not the objective of your game, they won't do it. They will not click editor. They will not click all the 10% or 1% content unless you make it the point of the game. The point of Code Hero is to ship it. A ship in harbor is safe, but that's not why ships are built. And so we literally bring our players to a shipyard. And you should do something like this too if you actually want your players to make something. Make it part of the story. Because you have to come here and you have to go into the Steambox editor, and that shipping container, that's your player realizing that they are making something and that they are creating something that they're going to ship. And when they go into the editor and they build things, I'll save you the editor. It's a lot like Unity. You you make stuff, you click, you reshape it, and so on. And it teaches you to do that, just like the dragon part. But what matters is that they eventually push the button, and in the world editor, they can see all the games other people have played. You might see a little Easter egg in the corner that's part of the inevitability of user-generated content tools. But what matters is that they deliver something to their fellow players, and that they ship that content. And so this is how we visualize it. They literally ship their game to their players. And the next step beyond that is to get them to publish it on things like Steam. So that's how we're sort of pioneering this approach. It's dangerous. Our players are being expected to do something that no group of players has ever been asked to do before. But I think that Minecraft already prepared the way. I would be wrong to say we're the first to do this. Minecraft is an all-game designer game. I was at Minecon in Las Vegas, and there were 50,000 game designers. It was the 12-year-old GDC. It was truly inspiring. And I think that what we're doing now is we're opening up game design to the whole world.
Talk Jada Lovelace to matriculate as a Cambridge University Code Hero.
And the whole idea of this place is it's called Code Hero Hall. This is like the faculty of the campus. And it starts off with you showing up as a student, but they've tricked you because you're looking at all these famous programmers who invented programming. And you're looking at all these game designers who made games what they are. And they weren't asking you to be a student. They were tricking you into TAing for free. So you have your own plaque, and that's what we should be doing with games, is we should be teaching people that they are on the pedestal, and that we are there to usher them into that. So that's Code Hero, and it asks just two final questions. If we make programmerization the new monetization, our craft gets pulled way more out of the curtain than it ever has been before. And so game design is going to change. It's going to change the world because people who learn from learning games will make learning games. They're not just going to make Tetris and Pong and all the baby steps forever. They're going to take that fun that they master. They're going to take a master of fun arts and they're going to turn it into a game about the sciences or a game about the real world. And what happens to us as game designers if programmerization becomes the replacement for this monetization obsession? If we start actually having this like world-changing role, you might think, well, we're out of a job, right? Like there's going to be all these kids making crappy games for, the marketplace is as flooded as it could be already. Why would we even want this? The thing is that our role is expanding, not ending. We're not being crowded out by kids. We're being elevated by the opportunity to teach them. And what code heroes are people that use code to change the world. And up until now, your code hero is the programmer that inspired you to be a programmer. But the future of code heroes is people that inspire every other possible thing to change. When we make games that teach people how to make games, we teach people how to make games that could teach everything else. And we could have a world where knowledge becomes play.